my friend, it's Pat Sloan here on Tackle It Tuesday, which is full of a lot of other things. As always, and it is love in every stitch today. So I had to wear this one as we're rolling towards February. Woohoo! The second to the last real month of winter. I can make it through February. It's March. Oh, yeah, March. Okay, so it's two different sort of celebration days. It is Lego Day, so if you have quilts with Legos, Lego fabric, somehow you had quilts pattern of Legos, share that. It'll be a lot of fun. And it is Daisy Day. Now I probably put daisies on things over all the years. So probably the first 15 years that I did quilting, quilt designing, I did a lot of applique. This is one of a series of banners that I did quite a few years ago. There we go. And they were published by a company that then went out of business. This one, I think, got put into one of my books. Probably, it may have been put in a magazine. So it is, I always find it very cheerful. I have two of these. So this one is actually going to a charity group to use to do some whatever they're going to be doing. But I have one that I'm keeping because of those kind of tall banners. Several of them I did quite a few times. Like there's a coneflower one, and that's over on my digital store. I do have that one there. Okay, it is calendar day. Where's the calendar? All right, February calendar is out. So you can print it. Remember, there are two project pages. One is kind of the celebration days and the days I have videos, and also projects, what I'll talk about on those days. And then this is the project list, and if you're looking at it online, you can link to things because all of these are clickable when you're online. And I do have a day next week, next Thursday, the first Thursday in February. There will not be a video because I have to do some other things, and so that's not going to work out. So that day there will be no video. It'll just be Tuesday and Wednesday next week. So go ahead and download your project calendar so you are in the know. All right, Tackle It Tuesday. I am on this massive, what I am calling right sizing my spaces. As you know, I'm in both this room and the dining room and the hallway. So it's still tons, even though I've done a ton. Let me show you the point where I have a bunch of stuff out to go on to new homes. So here's one tip. One of the things I do is pull out stuff. Like this was kind of stored in the corner. These are, they're planters. This is extra. This is, I needed to figure out that basket. But I want to pull everything out and not put things back if I don't have to. If I can find a new home, I don't, where am I going to store my planters that I don't really want to store outside? I have outside ones there. I don't have a lot of space in my home, so it's kind of an issue. I'm still, as of taping this, going through things, so I'm going through, but I don't want to come and just jam stuff back in here. I want to pull it out, review it, and then make a really, really decisive decision if this goes back in there for just storage, or if I can either just get rid of it now or store it somewhere else. So here's a look at my staging area. This is the shelving that will be gone because I've been able to get rid of enough to eliminate that. And I actually have bins that are empty. So, well, none of those are empty. But I have the two bins baskets on the bottom that are empty, and that doesn't have a lot in it either. And so after all of the other stuff is gone, there we move this cabinet in here. I'll swing around the whole thing after all of that's gone. But I've got empty bins. Right now I'm storing under there till once this stuff is gone, then I can sort of look at what is left for the bins, what bins are left. So for this cupboard, there's two bins in the bottom. There's a deep bin there These are 2.5-inch squares, and then the bottom two are empty because some of these have gotten full, and those were strips, and I didn't use strips. What is that? Trash, dust, whatever. So I wasn't using the strips, so I've sent those on for the charity work. And now I've got this bin empty and this bin empty. This still has the crumb blocks that I did in 2021 to work with. So that's kind of like a project drawer. Yeah, right. And this is some older projects. There's that eagle quilt that I was given, the antique kit. And this is my Nana's peppermints. I'll have to get that out one day. One of our friends even embroidered Nana's peppermints for me to add to it. So I'm going to get that out and show you to you during Grandma's kitchen. So I'm thinking I am going to take wide backs, or not wide backs and backing fabric, and put it in this drawer because I don't need to get to those backing fabrics that often. So it just seems like that would be a good place to put it. And then I'm not sure what I'll do there. This is where I'm going to look at what's in those baskets, what's here, and figure out a better placement. Under here I have, basically that's empty. That's a project. And then I have, you know, the baskets are tidy now and they're a lot looser. So that's where I'm going with things. This is stuff that's got to go to some friends. And these are the part center blocks, and there's a bag of part center in here. So that's another thing that has to be dealt with. So there's still, it's like breaking it down, but this big grouping lets me do one big thing. Now in this Koala unit, which they don't make this unit anymore, it was one of their furniture items. So that's what my table is, a Koala, that's what that cabinet is over there. They make variations of this table that you have done custom to suit your needs, but they don't make this shelving unit anymore. It came in different ways. But I'm really happy to have it because it fits the blue bin so perfectly. And I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 blue bins at the top that are empty. Other things are, that's like patterns that are sort of things that we might do together. I might like to do some project stuff, some older project stuff. So those all still have to be looked at. And then in here is again older project stuff, mostly just groups of fabric that I like and might want to use someday. So it's you know, they're not started. And the drawers here, which have all kinds of, you know, sewing needles and clips and bobbins, and I've got, you know, threads down here that are other, like here's from my Sashigo stuff and other thread storage. And then this is also feet and thread and you know, stuff for the machines. On this side I put the larger design boards, these project bags where I'm saving the blocks, you know, these guys. And the owl, where is she? The beautiful owl. And then some of the bigger the bigger rulers in there, and some sanding mats, things like that. That is a huge relief. I am so lucky to have such great friends who have connections with charity organizations. The pieces are used to either make new quilts for charity, or they take the small things or the bigger things. Nothing like a dry winter throat, right? So they take like the big quilts then and the small quilts, and they're used either to groups that will be running maybe raffles or auctions so they can get bring in funding as a fundraiser, or selling the smalls in shops that benefit the veterans and other kinds of facilities like that. And then there is a group of the quilts that they're actually given to people. There's organizations that use, that they give to, whether it is somebody going for infusions or children or whatever. So that is how they all go out, and I have friends that have a lot of connections and enjoy doing that. And so I'm happy to let everything go. But there's still a lot. There's still a lot. And so what I did, because I like to call it born organized. If you're like me, like you're a list maker, you want to have a schedule, you want to have a goal, you want to have a roadmap, you know, like you want to know where you're staying, what you're eating, what day things are going to happen on. That's us. So what I did was made myself a list. This list is my roadmap to figure out what I am going to still have eventually, how I'm going to have it, where it's going to be. Just an example is like by fabric. I have fabric by color, like up in the bins up there by color, but I also have fabric, I have some solids, I have some Christmas and Halloween. You know, do I really want those anymore? Do I want to keep those? I have packages of fabric, and some of them I've had for a while now. They're not a started quilt, so they're not a UFO. They're just a package of fabric I'd like to put together someday. And am I really ever going to do that if I haven't done it by now? If I haven't done it by now, why? And is it still necessary for me to have it? I want to right size so that I can get most everything in here, which is impossible at this point. And without doing more, you know, like messiness. I don't want it to be messy. And then my quilts is the same thing. I'm going to group the quilts that I hang by season, which is like 9 seasons right now that I change quilts at. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. I might right size that to every other month somehow, eventually. Also, there are quilts that I want to keep for a very, very long time for sentimental reasons. And then there are quilts that are kind of extra special that I want to give to certain organizations for fundraising. So I am going to be going through and sorting the quilts into those categories, and then what's left then can be dispersed out to the charities. And there's other things like sewing machines, because I do have some that I don't use, older ones, notions, the books, you know, that kind of a thing. So this is my master plan, my roadmap that I will be working on. And I am highly motivated right now. So stopping to do anything else is difficult, because I'd rather just work through this while the iron's hot. You know that feeling, like when you're ready to do something, and then if you get distracted and you don't work on it, then it could be years. And right now I'm really, really highly motivated. Okay, that being said, I have to film videos. So today we have 2 main things. We have the leaf quilt from Wendy Shepherd, and we also have the snowman that is a huge big quilt. And we'll talk about that last. So first, the leaf quilt, Wendy Shepherd's wonderful book. There's 9 awesome fall patterns in here with primarily leaves. Lots of leaves. No, they don't all have leaves. What is wrong with me? No, some of them have leaves, some of them don't. You can see on there, even on the front. So, but I am doing the one called Blueberry Orange Bread with my Gratitude and Grace. And I have all the blocks. You know, this quilt ends up being 60 by 60, which I was like, oh wow, that's a really nice size. I want to show you the blocks together because next week is week 3, when you should have all 9 blocks sewn, and at that point you have to decide what order do you want to put them in. So Wendy's is kind of a scattered. So it's a little asymmetrical, it's scattered, and what I've done is I'm going to get the other camera, and I have my blocks up there in this particular order. Then I'm going to switch them like 2 times and show you what they look like in a different order. So let me do that. So this is Wendy's order from the book, and they're scattered, just like leaves would be falling down off of a tree. You know, they don't fall symmetrical where they're all going the same way. And being that there are just 9 blocks, some of you might feel like you would enjoy some symmetry in this. So what I'm going to do is rotate them all so they go like those first 2, so that you can see what that looks like. There they are. They're all going this way. Now one thing one thing I do want to do is, see there's really dark stems right here. I just sort of picked them up off the pile. So I will want to move the dark stems, and they're primarily blue or the dark teal. And this group there's like 3 that are really green. There's the one plaid that's really teal. Then there's the lighter blues. There's 3 of those since there's 9 blocks. So I want to scatter those stems around no matter what layout I do, so that the stems are not you know, like a piled up of the darks and piled up of the greens together. So there is symmetrical. And let me just mess around and do a third, a sort of scattered look. On this one, I rotated them. Rotated this way, this way, this way to get to that point. But then I couldn't rotate it again, like, you know, like going like this, because these two would have been the same. So I just from that point made sure that all three were in a different rotation, and then all three across were also in a different rotation. I took this opportunity to switch that darker stem up one, just to show you. So there's one that is scattered differently. Okay, I have to do one more. So I just wanted to show you that if you were going to make more blocks, let's say you like this and you want to make more blocks, if you put them like so that all of the stems came together like that, you could even do like a little cornerstone when you did sashing, and then if you did another row here and then another row out there, so basically it was 4 by 4, then you could get 4 sets of these, which would be super cute and bigger. This is an excellent scrap buster for those of you who like to keep like those smaller pieces, those leftover pieces. If you've got parts of a jelly roll, this is fantastic. Pull them by color if you haven't started yet. Next week is week 3, where we'll have, you know, try to get all your 9 blocks done so that you can start playing around with your layout and your sashing, because then there's still a border to go on it, and of course get it quilted. Now we're going to switch gears and go play in some snow. Well, I put the lemon chiffon up there. Those are all the blocks but 3 that I have done so far, just to decorate that wall, since I haven't seen them up there yet. I want to power out some more of those because it needs some more. All right, the Quilted Snowman. This is a super darling project, and it is a big project. The final quilt is 87 by 97, so it's super, super cute. Now, I am not personally making this. My friend Bobby is making it for herself, and she is lending me her blocks. So there is a bit of sort of organization and different things about this that I want to talk through for those of you who want to kind of make it your major project, because I am going to be showing it from January to June, and then this will wrap up for me. The Fat Quarter Shop is hosting it from January to November, through November. And so your quilt will be done then if you follow along on their path. I'm doing their path, but just condensing it 2 months at a time, basically. So let's take a look at that schedule so you can see. So the schedule they have is here. You can print it off at my website. And then, you know, it's got parts. Part 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are kind of significant to sort of keep track of where you are, because I'll show you the different parts, but they have multiple pieces. So you may want to take either the cover of this, or if you bought the PDF version, you can print a PDF version or just make a copy of this and use it to take and put notes on. So each part is telling you, going sequentially through the book, what to sew. So part 1 is the snowball blocks. So I'm going to show you first how the patterns are. I'm not going to show you the directions, of course, but here is sort of a guide, and Lori is using her fabric in the kit. Now the Fat Quarter Shop's kit has a guide, because I think that there maybe were not some fabrics that weren't available or something like that. So you want to take a look at that and take a look at the guide. Also, if you are using her fabric, Lori's fabric, for the background, if you're using what's in the kit, it is directional. You can see that? It's directional fabric. So that's something that if you want to keep everything going the same direction, you're going to need to be aware of. So each block, each of the 4 parts each month that I'm going to point out and show you what Bobby's done is laid out. So these are fairly small. They're small blocks, and there's a lot of them. And the first sort of 5 sections have a lot. After that, it is loosened up, and it's not quite the same intensity of amount you have to sew. Okay, here are the first blocks. Here are some of them. And Bobby has sent this to me in parts of it already sewn into sections, because that just makes a lot more sense. The pattern for that is in your book and at the back, so you could do the same thing. You could be attaching it to where it needs to go, or you could just power through and do that part later. It depends on your work style, but these are this darling little snowball blocks, and you do a bunch of them. And then the next block is called, here we go, is called the whirling snowflake block. And these are all scrappy. So you will see here, you do 6, it was at 8 of these. But here's the whirling snowflake block, and that is a super cute block. It is sew and flip construction. You can go out to the Fat Quarter Shop, their videos, Lori Holt's videos, and see what's going on. And this one Bobby also assembled, you know, following the pattern, into a section. So you can see how you could build these sections out as you're going along, and then you're that much further ahead in the process. Now this one probably, I can see by the directional fabric, it probably goes this way, and there's also letters that she's put, you know, the correct direction. So I'm going to stick that back on there. Okay, so after you're doing this one, you will have a few cute stars to do. There are these big stars, and 2 of them are on the top of this trees. So let me get the cover out here so you can see that. I'm kind of point out where they are. So that block, goodness, papers. So that block is up here, there's one here, and there's one here. So there's just 3 of this one. That's a simple block. But you can see all the little snowflake blocks, and it's just so darling. It reminds me very much of the Quilted Witch when we did that, because it has these little blocks everywhere like snowflakes. And then here's block number 2, which is done, you know, there's several of those, so they're scattered around. And so you can see how you can sew these kind of sections up, and then that way you're farther along as you go. You're kind of working the sections as you go. And the back of the book has all of that. There's several pages here of assembling it, so you can just be working through this and going back. So it is kind of a major project for you if you're doing this year. You know, it's a lot of parts, and if you keep working on it as much as we're showing for 6 months, you can have it done in 6 months. Okay, the last one is, here we go, this block. Look how beautiful that is. And then once again, here are some of the first blocks. These little baby snowball blocks are super, super cute. And then look how gorgeous this block is. I love it. I love it. So those are the first 4 sections. And Bobby said that if the 5th section is also, you know, quite a few blocks, and then after that the sections loosen up. They might be bigger pieces, like when you're making the scarf, the wagon, the trees, you know, the snowman's body is scrappy. That's scrappy. So there's, look at all the different fabrics in it. So the whole thing is super, super scrappy. Okay, so that's a lot packed in today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed seeing my status for my massive Tackle It Tuesday, which is like Tackle It January and February for me. And be sure you download the project calendar. All right, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.